Yeah. If you're just so transactional in business, then what is the person going to connect to? People love stories.
Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose? You're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. There are moments when someone's story hits you so hard, it lingers in your bones. That's what happened when I first heard today's guest, Fallon Farinacci, speak. In a room of 1,000 people, you could hear a pin drop. Because her story isn't just about survival. It's about choosing courage over and over again, even in the face of heartbreak. And Fallon is the kind of leader we don't talk about enough. The kind who leads not from a title, but from truth. The kind who calls us in, not out. And today, she's showing us what it really looks like to lead your life with integrity, healing, and purpose. And I cannot wait for you to experience her quiet, powerful brilliance. Let's dive in. Welcome back, my friends, to another fabulous episode of the Female Founder Unplugged. I have someone here with me today that I'm really thrilled to have on the show. I was really lucky to be at an event here in Calgary on International Women's Day earlier in 2025. And I got to listen to Fallon and her incredible story of courage, of perseverance, and most of all, of leadership. And you could have heard a pin drop. There was a room of about 1,000 people. And honestly, it was just riveting. I'm getting tingly all over just talking about it, actually. And I knew right away that this was someone that I wanted to have as a guest on the show because I think we talk a lot about leadership in our business, but this is about leading in our whole life. And that's what Fallon demonstrates so beautifully. That's what she shows us. So really excited to have you here. Fallon, thank you so much for being a guest.
Well, thank you for having me. My goodness, I'm so honored. And everything you're saying, I'm like, oh, I don't know who she's talking about.
No, for sure. And I appreciate that, right? That you are very humble, that you just share authentically. And I really love that about you. But, tell us about who you are. You introduce yourself. You don't need me to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name's Fallon Farinacci. My spirit name is White Thunder Woman. The elder who gifted me my name said that I'm here to make a lot of noise. I am a proud Red River Métis. I'm originally from Manitoba, just west of Winnipeg, in a tiny, predominantly Métis community. And I now reside, and my 2 feet are planted in St. Catharines, Ontario. I'm a proud mom, first of all.
Yeah.
And I am mother to 3 beautiful children, one of which is an adult, which seems weird to say. And then my lover, my husband, and I raise our children here. And I just never in a million years imagined, speaking and sharing online the way that I do. I honestly thought I was going to be a nurse or an interior designer. Those were the things that I thought I was going to end up doing when I, grew up and knew what it was I wanted to do. And somewhere along the way, I found purpose in my story. So I am a survivor, a child survivor of MMIW. So for those that don't know, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And it actually took me a long time to even come to understanding my place in that as well. And yeah, I just had always shared my family story. I lost both my parents to a man who stalked my mom, and I've since lost both of my brothers as well to mental illness. And so I'm grateful I had family that talked about it instead of putting shame around it. And then because I think that's kind of where my voice came from to wanting to share naturally. I think I'm just always have been a storyteller. Probably if you ask any of my cousins or my aunties or uncles, they would say I love talking. And so it just kind of went from there. And then I started to see how I could use social media as a platform, not on my own, from a nudge from a friend who had said, I think you would be really great at, sharing your story, maybe on a podcast. And I had done a podcast interview and, was sharing online, but I had always just shared online and writing because I liked to do that. And then from there, it's now just grown into kind of what it has over the last few years, really.
Yeah. And what you do is you share your story with, there's passion there, but also, I guess the word I would use is real dignity.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
My gosh, no one has ever said that. So thank you very much.
Oh, really? I'm so surprised by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's such a beautiful, quiet dignity in what you share and how you share it, and how you own it. And I think that's important. We all need to be able to do that. So I think you create a beautiful example of that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I try to, when I'm sharing online, I think the biggest thing for me is obviously people need to be called out, then call them out, right? However, I do think that people will listen to you more if you can call them into the conversation instead. And I've shared that before. I've even actually shared on other podcasts, and I've had listeners message me and say, yeah, you're right. Like I probably wouldn't have maybe listened to your story if you didn't share it the way you shared it, instead of like calling me out, calling me in. And that's a listener. That's not even someone, that I'm necessarily in the room with or face to face with, or, having a conversation online or whatever through text. And so I just thought, okay, yeah, that like it really does resonate with people. Sometimes, like I said, people need to be called out. But I think that if you can do it in a way that people will actually listen, like that's the first thing you have to do. So if you put up a blog and they don't listen right away, you're never going to get through.
Yeah. And, as you're talking about that, there's a real parallel with how we tell the story in our business as a business leader, as the CEO.
Yeah.
How we talk about what we do. Yes. And this idea that we have to connect and call them in. That's really powerful.
Yeah. If you're just so transactional in business, then what is the person going to connect to? People love stories. Yeah. I remember hearing this years and years ago. This is like before I was speaking, and it was people love stories, and that's because we all want to be seen and heard, and that really helps when we share these stories and people can connect to the story. So it's the same thing with our businesses. People want to connect to that business, that story, why you started it. It literally is the same. This is just where I think we're conditioned this way. We want that connection, the human connection. Yeah. So if you give that even within business, then for me personally, I'm going to buy what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Subscribe to whatever it is because I want to connect to that.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I think when I work with female founders, we talk a lot about you're really passionate about your product or your service. You've built this business on purpose. For many women, we've left corporate because we hit the glass ceiling, or maybe we had that second baby, or we're not to your point, not getting the respect. Like I'm smart enough and I'm an expert at this, and yet you all don't respect that. So I'm just going to go over there and do my own thing. We got to embrace that.
Yeah.
and tell that story really boldly, because that not only is engaging to our customers, but it's engaging to our team. People want to come and work with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think even like within my own story, one thing I quickly realized was like, oh, I'm not alone in this. And so it's the same thing that would ripple through to the way you're leading your business or the reason why you started your business. You're not alone.
You're not alone.
There's someone out there who is either wanting to do the same path as you, going through the same thing as you, or is already on that journey, and they just want to, again, kind of see themselves in that, right? So we make those connections for ourselves naturally all the time. We might think like, oh, and then you start to listen to someone talk and you think, oh my gosh, and you pick up those little notes that really connect you to their story and then inspires you, essentially, is what we're all looking for, right?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we're wired that way, aren't we? Right?
Yeah.
Like that.
I think you forget that.
You know what? I think we do too. I think we really forget that that is part of our human nature. That's part of the way our brains respond is through story. And story creates connection, and story gets our brains to be more creative and innovative. And that's when we come up with our best stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then like our synapses start to inspire others. Like, I mean, they've seen it where someone's brain lights up and then someone next to them's brain light. Like it actually is biology. I think we do. I think we forget that we are wired for that story, and that is what's meaningful. And that's what, we see it in each other, don't we?
Yeah. And like, I can think of even, when I started to grow my platform online, and I thought, I need a website. I should have a website. Even though, it's funny because how much we use social media, alternatively to our websites, right? Yeah. So, to sell, Fallon, you got to work on your website more consistently. But I was doing that, and then I'm doing my branding and everything as well. And in that, I had a design in mind. Okay. And I actually have it tattooed on me, like the original design. It's supposed to be a wheat piece. My take on a wheat piece, because Manitoba, then the infinity symbol, the Métis infinity symbol. And I had 5 for my family members. And so I wanted that incorporated in the design. And then the 11th hour changed it. And I said, I wanted a strawberry. I've actually never shared this story. So, I mean, I have with like personal friends, but never publicly, I don't think. So I wanted a strawberry. And I remember like everything was done and set to go. And this website is ready to go. Okay.
Yeah.
I know the branding company was like, they were lovely and so great, like so great. And I said to them, we got to nix the wheat piece. And the response back was different. Like it wasn't bad. It was more, we've had another brand that wanted to include a strawberry, but we think it's seasonal. Like, that's their job is to guide the brand process, right? And because they come back to you with the after you've given all the things, that's why you hire them, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna push back on this because it's not seasonal. And the difference is for me was like, I think for someone who's non-Indigenous to understand that it's not a seasonal thing, the strawberry. Right. It's very much a part of so many Indigenous cultures and their stories and teachings behind it. And I thought, I'm gonna push back. And I have a connection to the wheat piece. And like, honestly, remember that trend was going around online, and it was like, when you pass away, bury me here, or you'll find me here. Right. Mine was, you'll find me in the prairie skies and the wheat fields. Like that's really like heaven to me, the way it looks, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And, or whatever you believe in, that beautiful place you think you're going to, if you think that. And so I thought, okay, but the strawberry, I have stories with the strawberry, like deep, meaningful stories with my family, with this strawberry. And there is so much more to it too, right? And so I went with the strawberry. I was like, no, we have to go with the strawberry. And again, the branding team did wonderful and helped me, and we put it all together, and I have the strawberry. I would not have a wheat piece sweater collection collab with a Smash and Tess.
Yes.
I would not have my beautiful wild strawberry collection, wild wet wheat piece collection with poppy and peonies.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't have had those. And like, at the end of the day, it wasn't, yes, obviously branding is business, but I was like, I took all of that out of it.
Yes.
And I just put meaning and my own personal connection and story into it, and took that all away, like the transactional part of it.
Yeah.
And gave it a story. So, yeah.
You've heard me talk about the LPC Accelerator. It's where we do the real work. The leadership strategy, the people systems, and culture that actually holds when things get hard. It's part one-on-one coaching, part mastermind, and it's all about helping you lead with clarity, not chaos. If you've been listening and thinking, this is what I've been missing, our next cohort kicks off March the 2nd, and there's a spot for you. If you want to grow without burning out, this is the room to be in. You can send me a DM today to learn more, or check out the link in the show notes and it'll take you right to the page. You know what? I really love that. And I like, just as you're talking more and more, I'm thinking somehow we build the story out. And actually, we need to be building the story in. It needs to be very present.
Yeah.
I even think about my own brand. So high voltage leadership, high voltage is actually from my life purpose statement. So I am the high voltage extension cord that connects others to their own inner brilliance. And that speaks to so much of who I am and what I am and how I show up in the world. And so it just made sense that would become part of the business. And you know what? I don't think I talk about that nearly enough.
I love that so, so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It very much represents, like, I am a high voltage human being. Like, you spend any time with me and it's all about energy, right?
Yeah.
And so many of my values are woven in that. So many stories about how I developed that, how that came to be the statement. Like, again, just beautiful, bringing those stories to life. And we get to do that because the business is ours. It belongs to us.
Yeah.
We don't have, it sounds like your branding company was lovely, but it's not their business. It's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we forget that.
Yeah. It's, and I appreciate like the direction and everything that they wanted to give, right? Because at the beginning, oh my gosh, at the beginning, I think that's what it is like you said, we have to build the story in, because if someone's listening and they're like, oh, how do I do it? You're building out too fast. And that's why the branding company, that's what they do. They help you build it in 100%, right? And so it's like, and then from there, we have to build it in even more, because at first you're going to start and you're going to be like, this is my ideas or whatever, right? So, well,
I think it just we lose our connection to it. It loses its meaning. To your point, it just becomes transactional. It becomes superficial is maybe the word I would add to that, right?
Yeah,
it's external. Absolutely. It has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
I think the flip side is true. Like, when I think about helping business leaders build and nurture their culture, because we got to take care of the people inside the business if we ever want to take care of the clients that are on the outside of the business.
Right.
Those stories are absolutely crucial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We want people to feel connected to the vision, what we're trying to create, the mission, what we're trying to change.
Yeah.
When we can enroll people in that through the story, you're not going to have to ask them to work overtime. They're going to do it because they know how important it is. They feel so passionately about it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that that's the element that so many of us are missing, especially as our teams get bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And there's there's something to that too, that I was thinking while you were talking I remember an era of, I've owned a few businesses, just FYI. I had a big business for 8 years that a lot of people, probably don't even know about. I had a home decor store because I was like, well, if I can't be an interior designer, I'm going to be have a home decor store, right? So it's so funny. So that was a whole other lifetime ago. My gosh, now that I think about it, it's like 20 years ago.
Wow.
I don't know how that's possible because anyone who's listening, I'm 29. So
yes, she opened the home decor store before she was 10 years old. She's been very successful.
Very. But I think of that era of the boss babe, right?
Yes.
And I think of how that's what the intro, and I've never done that before when I introduced myself to be like, I am a mom. Yeah. Because I think there was this time in boss babe era that it was ingrained in us to lose the mom part, be yourself first. And I'm mm-hmm. my first. I am 100% me first. And my kids know that. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And people are going, if you're listening right now, you might not be there. That might not be this might not be that time, that era, right? However, I think I learned over the years, or it kind of started to irk me when I thought about it, because I was like, no, I am who I am because of all of the things.
Yeah.
Because of all of the stories.
Yep.
So if I'm not acknowledging that, if that's that's on the back burner, believe me, anyone who's listening, I'm going to be the first to be yes, I'm going out with my girlfriends. I'm going on that trip. And then I'm also, just spent a week with my daughter for her dance comp in the States. But it's not I don't know. I just, it really bothered me. And then I'm thinking as you were talking, our stories are our stories because of everything we've gone through. Right. And so that's going to shape, you want to think it's not going to shape every part of you and your business. It will absolutely will.
Of course. Right?
Yeah. And I think we were told for that certain period of time, nope, just be yourself, be who you are, and almost forget everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's making sense.
No, it totally makes sense. I've always said that we are the sum of our experiences. Mm-hmm. We are who we are because of all the shit we've gone through, the good shit and the bad shit and all the shit in the middle.
Absolutely.
That is we have to be able to integrate and own that. And again, I think that that's what I identified when I listened to you speak, is that you have successfully been able to integrate that, and it is part of you, and it's a part that you share. It's a part that I'm sure still has a big hole, all of it, all of it. And I think that is so critical. I was a single mom for 12 years. And there were moments where I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I didn't know which bill we were going to pay this month. Right. That's part of who I am. That's part of what makes me so resilient. That's part of what makes me so alive. I'm super proud. My baby turns 27 this week. And I'm only 39. So how the hell did that happen? Right? So, but this is just really being able to actually look at all those pieces of ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just know that all of that is part of who we are.
Absolutely.
And why we're still standing today.
Yeah. And I think people look so often outside.
Yes.
And then if I think of like some people, like in my personal life, I'm not going to like speak for all businesses and whatever, but my own friends who have their own businesses, they are successful because they have this purpose.
Yes.
And that purpose, more than likely, if you ask them like their journey, you're going to hear the whole purpose throughout the whole journey, and pieces of them built that business, right? So I don't know, I think it's quite special. And you can go back to even myself with my childhood, right? Like there's pieces, you think there's little tidbits in what we do from when we are little to, the people who raised us, and how it's integrated and how we might take that forward to fuel what it is that we want to do.
Yeah. Totally. You've completely inspired me. You can't see me, but I was just scribbling notes because I don't know that I've done a very good job of sharing what my purpose is and how that fuels what I do in my business and who I work with and the programs that I have developed.
Yes.
Because there is something really deeply meaningful for me underneath all of it. And I have a freaking podcast. I'm not sure I've done a good job of sharing that. Like, how is that?
No, you know what? It's funny though. Like they're things that, like, I don't know, they come up often, like they'll just like trickle in these thoughts, and they'll lead us along the way. Someone had once said to me too, and it was like, well, how are people going to know if you don't tell them? And it had nothing to do about business.
Right.
I was just like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like, how will they know? And that comes to me too, as just as a woman asking for help, even, right? Yes. Maybe we don't do that. And it's funny. I will say for the last 2 years, I run a fundraiser for an Indigenous transitional home here in Niagara.
Yes.
Every year. I love Christmas.
Oh.
But tell me, when someone's listening, how I can make Christmas my business, and I'll do that.
Oh, yes. I'm in. Can we be partners?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just love Christmas. So I've found a way to have this fundraiser, and then we can give back, and it's all around Christmas time. Anyway, so we have this fundraiser, and we host it, and the idea is to come together to raise funds. And so we have an auction, and a lot of times we're coming close, and it's like, are we going to have enough items? And the worry comes from wanting to raise enough money for the organization, right? And so the last 2 years on social media, I have posted, I need your help. That's like the first sentence I put out there. And do you know the response I get?
I'm sure it's remarkable.
It really is. And think about how many times we're in the thick of life, your business, whatever, right? Like, not asking for help.
Yeah.
And I ask, and I'm surprised. And I remembered this year, I thought, you know what? Last year, people responded to that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest and ask for help. And then the donations came in. And this year we actually more than doubled our amount of donations that came in. I know. Yeah.
That's remarkable. Honestly, I think asking for help is an extreme act of courage. I really do.
It really
Yes. People see it as weakness. I see it as deep courage.
I think it's something that we forget that's okay to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we love to give help. Mm-hmm. We really struggle with being perceived to need help.
Yeah. It's like a sign of weakness, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about the way even, if we're talking about business, if we're thinking about the way that maybe a business is ran by a man, him asking for help isn't asking for help. He's getting he's getting his employees to do the work that they would be doing. And somehow I think if we asked, it would not be quite the same. I'm just going to put that out.
I think you're absolutely right. And yet, as women, especially as women building our own businesses based on our own expertise, our own passion, I think that there's power in asking each other for help, providing each other support. That to me is actually critical. And like, to be honest with you, I just launched a new program specifically for female entrepreneurs. And part of the program is creating a very special community because we need to have those people that we can rely on, that we can ask and feel confident about asking, that where we can practice receiving, because some of us aren't very good at receiving the help.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We need spaces where we can do that. And we need the right people to be in the room so we can do that together, be brave together.
Absolutely. I mean, I had my cousin come out for the fundraiser this year. She flew in and she helped. And then I had my friends fly in as well.
Nice.
And I just think like, they were coming in. We're just like matter of fact, like we're coming in and we're helping. And I love that. I know that you wanted to be a part of it and be here for it. But then also I think to myself how much they all know that I'd have a really hard time asking for the help. And the fact that they all came just as like,
Yeah. I love that. And when we have those people who know that there's a space where we're not as good, because we all have it. We all have our edge, right? That know that. And they're like, I'm just going to step in and help you because I know you're not going to ask. And I know you're a terrible receiver.
Yes.
I'm rotten at that. Like even at family parties, and let me, oh my gosh. I mean, you and I are both nodding together because we're clearly the same person.
Yeah.
But I do think, especially as we build our businesses, there's such a great space here for us to embrace the help, to really be courageous with each other, to participate in those spaces together and offer where we know someone needs it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be flying all over the country. It could just be, hey, let's talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's help.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
It's the connection piece.
It's the connection. And again, all the way back to the stories, which are so meaningful for us. Fallon, thank you. Thank you very much for your time today. This has been such an interesting, nuanced conversation that I had no idea we were going this way. And it's been beautiful.
Yeah, same. I didn't know. And, you inspired me. So
lovely. Well, thank you. I'm so glad. That makes me happy. Where can everybody go to connect with you?
Yes, absolutely. They can follow me on Instagram. So just my name, Fallon Farinacci, and then on TikTok. And you can come to that website and hold me accountable. So it's fallonfarinacci.com. I do have, I have my website, but we all need to do better at the things that we have to keep up with. So,
oh my gosh. Yes. Awesome. We'll make sure that all of that is in the show notes if you didn't catch it. And yes, go to her website, send her a note and say, I heard you. You need to update your website.
Absolutely.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time and your sharing today. It's been so great to chat with you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram at High Volt Leadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the real magic happens when you're unplugged.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at mike@cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.